Welcome to Werezilla's Retrospective. I'm your host, Werezilla. LEGO typically uses other franchises to create stories, with their original sets being pretty much up to the kids' imagination. There is an exception, however, and that exception is Bionicle. While Bionicle may have existed to sell toys like a lot of other shows, it certainly had a rich history to go with it. The creators actually came up with a whole backstory and civilization for the characters to exist in, coming in the form of various books, webcomics, serials, and 4 DVD movies to tell one big story. There's a lot to cover before we get to today's topic, but the gist of it is this. Bionicle centers around multiple teams of heroes known as Toa, basically warriors of elemental powers, to protect a civilization of people called Matoran from an evil shadow god known as Makuta. And we're going to be covering much of that tale in the form of the first 3 direct-to-DVD movies, for this is the month of the Bionicle. Now let's get started with its first film, Mask of Light. We start the film with narration from Turaga Vakama, one of the 6 village elders from the series.
In the time before time,
There was the cube. We know not where it comes from. Oh wait, wrong franchise, about toys. Anyway, Vakama explains the backstory of how the Matoran's god Matanui has been put under a deep sleep by Makuta, and is terrorizing his brother's people. Because if you're a god and your brother created a civilization that loves him, you're obligated to be the evil one, instead of, get over it and make your own civilization. We cut to a pair of Matoran, Jala and Takua, discovering a mask of power similar to the ones the Toa use. Takua is about to get melted by molten lava, but thankfully he's saved by Tahu Nuva, Toa of Fire.
Chronicler! Sightseeing, were ya?
Wait, is that who I think it is?
None have breached Tokoro's gates before, and none shall this day.
You claim to be the toughest of us all, Snake, but you have done little to prove it.
Yes! Scott McNeil is back! Anyway, Takua and Jala head off to take part in a Koli match, which is basically just a lamer version of Quidditch that you play on the ground. Watching the match is, of course, Tahu, Gali Nuva, Toa of Water, and Pohatu Nuva, Toa of Stone. And Tahu and Gali aren't getting along. Yeah, last I checked it was Tahu and Kopaka that were always at odds with each other. Anyway, the rest of the Matorans see the mask Takua found, and the Turaga discover that it's the titular Mask of Light, meaning the 7th Toa will arrive soon, who will awaken Matanui from his slumber. The Turaga send Jala and Takua on a quest to find the 7th Toa, which of course gets Makuta's attention.
Their unity can be poisoned. Their duty will be broken. Their destiny I must shatter. Go, my sons. Use the shadows and keep my brother asleep.
You know just how ornery your uncle gets when people wake him up. These 3 are the Rakshi, and they immediately attack Tahu's village and destroy it fairly easily. Damn! If only we didn't build our village in an active volcano, this wouldn't have happened! The Green Rakshi also poisoned Tahu during the fight, but he thinks nothing of it. That won't bite him in the ass later. Takua and Jala arrive in the jungle and meet up with Liwa Nuva, Toa of Air.
You? With us?
We'd be honored to have you walk with us.
walk? Ha! Not never. If you ride with me, there'll be no foot walking, just air flying.
Liwa and all his people's dialogue has been brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department. They arrive on the snowy mountain and learn of the Rakshi's attack, prompting Liwa to, air fly to the other Toa. You know, given their lack of screen time, it's almost like the Toa are secondary characters in their own movie. Alright, next up, Takua and Jala run into Kopaka Nuva, Toa of Ice. Despite the fact that word their quest to find the 7th Toa has become widespread among their island home, Kopaka doesn't even sound interested. The Rakshi show up and Kopaka proceeds to freeze them in a lake. And then he leaves. What? At least Liwa gave a reason. I know Kopaka is the loner of the team, but considering Takua and Jala are looking for the 7th Toa, these two probably need protection. The two arrive in the tunnels, and Takua gets contacted by Makuta, telling him to hand over the Mask of Light, or, well, I'll let Makuta explain.
Even my shadows cannot hide your fear. Or the truth
What truth?
that you will not find the seventh Toa. And deep down, you know it.
So I won't. Maybe Jala will.
And if he doesn't, he will die because of you. Bring me the mask, Takua. Bring it to me, and you won't lose your friend.
No. I won't let everyone down.
You fail them more if you refuse. For the mask, your villages and Jala will be spared. Don't be a fool.
Yeah, your kids destroyed one village already, and you've previously set Rahi and Borak monsters against the Matoran, and your gimmick is shadows. You're about as trustworthy as Satan, which, to the Bionicle universe, that's exactly what you are. Thankfully, Takua takes it all in stride.
I can't go with you.
What? Why?
I can't explain.
Oh, that's just great. First you stick me with your duty, and then you ditch me?
My duty is to myself. I quit. Just take the mask and go.
Or not. Makuta decides to release 3 more Rakshi to go after the mask. Because with there being 6 Toa, why not have 6 different Rakshi? I mean, after all, we've had 6 different Borak and 6 different Borak calls, so why not keep that theme of 6 characters? Meanwhile, Pohatu meets up with Anuva, Toa of Earth.
Pohatu! Look around you. Mining has never been better.
Huh? Scott McNeil again? Huh, at least this one took me by surprise. As Takua arrives in Anua's village, the Rakshi show up and dispatch Pohatu and Anua with insulting ease. The black Rakshi draining Anua's strength, and the red one paralyzing Pohatu with fear. The Rakshi are about to do something to Takua when Tahu, Gali, and Liwa show up. Of course, the white Rakshi uses its anger power to turn Tahu against the others, and it takes Kopaka coming out of nowhere, freezing Tahu in place to stop his rampage. Takua escapes and Anua, earth bends the ceiling to collapse on top of the Rakshi. So how did you keep the ceiling from collapsing on you and Pohatu as well?
But how did you keep the ceiling from collapsing on us, too?
Me and my big mouth. The remaining 4 Toa escape and have to restrain Tahu in an attempt to heal the poison in his system. And since Anua got away with earthbending a minute ago, Gali now takes the time to waterbend in order to heal Tahu. Takua meets back up with Jala, and the two finally arrive at their destination, the Great Temple at the center of the islands. For those of you who know the geography of said island, that means they went in a half circle around the island only to end up somewhere all Matoran already know the location of. That means the mask was just pointlessly fucking with them, and it's to blame for the Rakshi destroying 2 villages. I never thought I'd find myself in the position of calling a mask a douche. The 6 Rakshi arrive and threaten Takua and Jala, followed by all 6 Toa to begin their final battle. Since the Toa's battles with the Rakshi last time were curb stomp battles, I'm going to assume this time they're just gonna barely come out on top.
Windfly! Sand Twister!
Leave the heavy lifting to me! Lava!
Water!
And ice.
Or it'll be the exact opposite. I guess they won before because the plot called for it. But they missed the fear one, which, well, there's no easy way for him to say it, mortally wounds Jala with fear.
You know who you are. You were always different.
And then Takua puts on the Mask of Light, transforming him into the 7th Toa. How did he know that would work? Anybody?
I am Takanuva, Toa of Light.
So, quick question. Why is he immediately turned into a Toa Nuva? The original 6 became Toa Nuva when they were exposed to a substance called protodermis, but I don't see that being evolved this time. Shouldn't Takanuva start off in standard Toa form like the others did? The Toa used the remains of the Rakshi to build a speeder bike so Takanuva can head off to confront Makuta himself. Makuta decides their final battle should be decided by a Coley match. There's not taking your enemies seriously, and then there's shit like this. The Toa and Taraga show up just in time to see Takanuva knock Makuta on his ass. Then Makuta shows he's a bad sport.
Well played, Toa. Now, I will protect Matanui from you.
Protect him?
Sleep spares him pain. Awake, he suffers.
He doesn't have to put up with Ryu's shots when he's asleep, like I do. Takanuva forces Makuta's mask off, knocking both characters into a pool of water nearby, despite not facing the pool during the struggle. This somehow merges the two together. Why? Because we only have 3 minutes left and we need to wrap this up as fast as possible. The combined Takanuva-Makuta thing opens a door, allowing the Toa and Taraga through, and even restores Jala back to life. Because I guess merging light with shadow together has the same effect as resurrection. And then the door crushes him. But all that is rendered completely moot when Takanuva is revived a little over a minute later. Takanuva proceeds to release a bright light, revealing another island on the horizon. The end. No, seriously, they ended it there. Mask of Light was not a perfect beginning to the Bionicle movies, and is heavily reliant on fans already being familiar with not just the Toa story, but the Matoran as well. Hence why Takua and Jala are the main characters this time around. On the plus side, the movie's primary audience is longtime fans already familiar with the lore. In that regard, it's successful. As for attracting new fans, well, they'd be asking so many questions that this is bound to happen. This was a movie made for the fans, and frankly, I'm glad it was, because considering how all the Transformer movies turned out, it's probably for the best Bionicle never made it to live action or the big screen. Speaking of the animation, it was rather good. And while characters aren't completely toy accurate, I give them props for being anatomically accurate. Helps translate the film better. Also, the voice acting, well, Scott McNeil is in it. Need I say more? The fights could be better, the weapons aren't actually used aside from shooting elemental powers, but since the Toa are technically spirits of their respective elements, that's probably a given. And while it is true we won't be seeing this team again next movie, we will get a more Toa-centric story next time.